Hey y'all, this is my first scope. So if you're here with me, just know that you're my first audience and I'm so excited, right? So I definitely want you all to um give me in the chat below. Tell me your name, tell me where you're from so I can give you lots of hellos and lots of love. I've done live stuff before, like Google Hangouts, and actually, Google Hangouts is probably the only live thing I've done. But this feels so different because I get to actually interact with you all, tap the hearts if anything I'm saying feels good for you. So, guys, in the bottom, just put your name, tell me where you're from, so I can give you a love shout out. So, what I'm talking about tonight is help I don't recognize the woman in the mirror. And this can be for women or for men. Um, how often have you had that experience where you go and you look in the mirror and you're like, what the hell? Like, you don't recognize the person that's in the mirror, whether it's you lost weight or maybe you're starting to gray, so you're feeling a little bit older, or maybe you're starting to wrinkle, or whatever it is, it makes you uncomfortable with the reflection that you're seeing back. It's like, that's not the person that I'm used to seeing. And when you have that experience, sometimes it can create anxiety, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight, because I've had that conversation with about three different people this week around what it feels like to go through changes in our body and not recognize ourselves in the mirror, and how do we manage those feelings, because sometimes the first feelings that come up for us um, is shame, guilt, fear, anxiety. Sometimes we'll actually feel separation from our own body and our own reflection in the mirror. And so, what I want to help is to give some feedback and some tips on what do you do when you don't recognize the woman in the mirror. So, I know for me, I've been through this a couple of different times. One of the bigger things that I've been through, and even as the body relationship coach and a person who is, I preach body positivity and I preach loving yourself and loving your body, the truth is that I still have to go through the exact same things that everyone else has to go through. When it comes to managing what I see in my reflection in the mirror. And so, most recently, I had a significant weight gain. And I don't know if you don't know me, you know that I'm not a person. You might not know that I'm a person who doesn't get on the scale, right? Because I feel like it doesn't help me stay in a loving space with my body. So I hadn't been on the scale anytime recently, but I did feel like that fluctuation in how my clothes were fitting. They were fitting a little bit tighter. Things were fit. I was like, okay, either everything's shrinking in the dryer, or I'm gaining weight. And so, because I am very passionate about, hi, Monique, because I'm very passionate about remaining in a loving space with my body, I try not to put too much weight, pun intended, on gaining or losing weight. Um, However, when I went and looked in the mirror one day, I was like, man, I don't recognize that woman in the mirror. Like, my body wasn't the same shape. Everything just looks so different. And what I want to do, if you all don't know about me, I do blogging that I call naked blogging. And what that is about is me being very honest and authentic. And I think that's very important. So I want to be honest and authentic with you all and say that it hurt to look in the mirror and not recognize myself or not recognize what I saw. And it almost shook me to the core when it came to my own self esteem and my own body image. But the reason I want to share that with you is because I want to tell you how I was able to work through that. So for a few days, I was in this really uncomfortable space, because it's one thing to feel confident in yourself when you're the same size all the time, right? because you've gotten used to being that size. You're used to being whatever size you are. You're used to your clothes. You're used to how things fit. You're used to what looks good on you and what doesn't. But when you start to have those fluctuations, you have to, everything changes. It's like your clothes don't fit anymore. The same styles of clothes don't fit you the same way anymore. And so now you're managing your body relationship in a totally different space. Hi, John C. I see your comment, and you're saying that you needed that because you recently had weight gain because of health challenges. And that's actually one of the reasons that I was experiencing weight gain as well. So I'm so glad this is resonating with you. But yeah, when you go and nothing fits anymore, and you've been used to being in this certain type of body, and now everything is completely different. And let's keep it real. Like, I want to keep it real with you all. Like that, let's not pretend that we're just like, oh, that's okay, I love my body. No, you have that moment where you're like, oh, okay, I don't like this. I'm not comfortable. I don't feel sexy or handsome or beautiful, or I don't feel desirable because this is a body that I'm not used to being in. Um, Another thing that I had to deal with was when it came to physical activity, because of having the weight gain. I was winded easier. I was used to going outside and doing my walk, or I've done the couch to 5K before, where I did running intervals, and I was able to do those things, and it was no problem. I used to live on the fourth floor of my apartment, and I could run to the top and be fine. But here I am in this new body, and I'm getting winded, and I mean, just by simple everyday activity. So not only is what I see in the mirror different, but how I feel in my body was different. How I was occupying the space in my body was totally different. I was tired more often. And so it was like, okay, it's almost like, I tell people, your relationship with your body is just like any other relationship. Think of an intimate relationship where you're with a person and you know their ins and outs. You know what they like to eat. You know what they like to drink. You know their favorite movie. You know what type of music they like. You know what makes them laugh, what makes them smile. And then one day you wake up and this person is a completely different person. Like, the same things that made them happy before doesn't make them happy anymore. The same things that you knew that they like, they don't really like anymore. They're not entertained by those things anymore. So the first thing you'll start to feel is a separation from that person. And you'll start to feel a breakdown, and maybe you'll pull away, or maybe you feel like they've pulled away from you, but you feel this sort of loneliness or emptiness, or you start to feel some type of heartbreak around the fact that you're not connecting with this person that you've loved all this time. And that's exactly what it felt like for me, to look in the mirror and not recognize the person that I was seeing, or to be moving throughout my life and to not be at the same physical fitness that I was before. It was like, okay, I learned how to manage this body. It was plus size, it was curvy, it was larger, but it was mine, and I knew it, and I understand it. I understood it, and I understood how it functioned. But now I'm in this space where it's a completely different body. So now I feel like, okay, there's a brokenness in the relationship. And so what I had to do first was to pause and to be in the moment and to accept my reality. You know, a lot of times our first inclination is to want it to be something different. Maybe we jump to, if only I were how I used to be, or if only I could fit in the clothes that I used to fit in, or if only I could run the 3 miles I used to be able to run. We focus on those things. That's our first inclination, is to be in this space of maybe depression, or feeling down, or feeling guilt or shame, because we focus on either the past, or we focus on the future of what we want it to be. But what I had to do was to sit with my reality. And my reality was that I was a different size. I was in a different body. It looked different in the mirror. My clothes fit differently. I didn't have the same amount of stamina. And so I just had to sit with that and I had to accept it for what it was. And then I had to become reacquainted with my body, um, with my new state of being in my body. So I had to figure out, okay, what does fit? What does feel comfortable? What does work for me when it comes to movement? What is going to still allow me to get my movement in, to get my fitness in, and me not feel winded and all of those things. So I had to learn this new space in my body. And then from there, I had to go back to giving myself some extra self-care. Guys, I preach self-care all the time. Um I want you all, if any of you practice self-care, give me a thumbs up, because I love my self-care soldiers who take the time to give their body some love, or to give themselves some love. And I mean, self-care can be anything from a nice hot bath to reading a book to going for a walk in the park. But I had to incorporate some extra self-care more than normal, because I had to start to heal and mend. Thank you, Monique. I see your thumbs up. I had to start to heal and mend that relationship with my body, and to decrease the distance, to help myself feel. Thank you, Dr. Mark Dagon. Thanks, Mark. I see your thumbs up. I had to reconnect with my body in a loving way, and so that meant I had to be more patient. I had to be compassionate. I had to be more loving, and I just had to slow down and mend that distance in the relationship. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you, it was not easy to go through. But what's most important is that I made it through. And the reason I want you all to know that is because if you come in that space where you don't recognize the person in the mirror, whatever's going on, whether it doesn't always have to be weight, sometimes it can be gray hair, it can be wrinkles, sometimes it can be chronic illnesses. Sometimes we have people who are cancer survivors and they've gone through surgery, or people who've lost body parts. There's so many different ways that we can experience a change in what we see in the mirror, and we can feel disconnected from that reflection that we're seeing in the mirror. And what I want you to know is that I understand, and I've been there, and it is not easy. It's For me, it was like definitely going through the fire, because it caused me to question: do you really love your body? And what I had to realize is that I still love my body. Just because I had that moment of anxiety or separation, or feeling some negative feelings, it didn't mean that the relationship was over. Again, going back to just like an intimate relationship, when you have a relationship, you have those rocky moments with that person, right? Where you're like, okay, they're getting on my nerves, or you might feel some distance, or you all might have an argument. But when you're really, truly committed to that relationship, you're there for the thick and the thin. And it doesn't mean that you stop loving that person just because you might have those moments of difficulty. Um, you just work your way through it, and you keep loving that person, and you come out on the other side, and a lot of times you come out stronger on the other side, right? And that's exactly how my body relationship is after going through that. I definitely can say that I am more compassionate. I'm more convinced that I'm going to love this body no matter what. Even through the changes and the hard times, guys, I feel like I should sing like a spiritual or something. Because it's like, oh, no matter what, I'm here for this. I'm here for loving this body, and I'm here for continuing to spread that message of love and helping other people learn how to to work through those challenges as well. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the hearts and all the love. Thanks for being here for my first Periscope. Before I go, does anybody have any questions that they want me to answer? Because we're live, and that's the whole point of being live, is that I can interact with y'all. So, does anybody have any questions? Just type it in the bottom and send it. And oh, You can, Chauncey. Actually, you can. Email me at ivy@cbodyloveself.org. Can somebody type that for me so that she can see that? ivy@cbodyloveself.org. Um, and we can definitely set up a time where we can talk. And I also have the body relationship breakthrough, which is an awesome session that I give 45 minutes to talk to people about their body challenges and to give them thank you, Monique, of you. I give people 45 minutes where we sit down and I listen to your challenges, and it's no judgment. It's a no judgment space. It's no shame. And I give you some feedback to help you tap into your own power, because the power is already there. I'm just there to help you remember it. So I definitely would love to talk to you, John C. Definitely email me, or if you want to go on my website, you're welcome. If you want to go on my website, you can schedule an appointment there. Um, does anybody else have any other questions or comments? If not, thank you guys so much. I love this. I was so excited. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And thank you for those of you who shared the broadcast in your Twitter timeline. Much love. Peace. Talk about tonight, because I've had that conversation with about three different people this week around what it feels like to go through changes in our body and not recognize ourselves in the mirror, and how do we manage those feelings, because sometimes the first feelings that come up for us um, is shame, guilt, fear, anxiety. Like, you don't recognize the person that's in the mirror, whether it's you lost weight or maybe you're starting to gray, so you're feeling a little bit older, or maybe you're starting to wrinkle, or whatever it is, it makes you uncomfortable with the reflection that you're seeing back. It's like, that's not the person that I'm used to seeing. And when you have that experience, sometimes it can create anxiety, right? So that's what I wanted to talk. Give me in the chat below. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from so I can give you lots of hellos and lots of love. I've done live stuff before, like Google Hangouts, and actually, Google Hangouts is probably the only live thing I've done. But this feels so different because I get to actually interact with you all, tap the hearts if anything I'm saying feels good for you. So, guys, in the bottom, just put your name, tell me where you're from, so I can give you a love shout out. So, what I'm talking about tonight is help I don't recognize the woman in the mirror. And this can be for women or for men. Um, how often have you had that experience where you go and you look in the mirror and you're like, what the hell? Hey y'all, this is my first scope. So if you're here with me, just know that you're my first audience and I'm so excited, right? So I definitely want you all to